We are here for the 14th race of the ARC Formula 1 season. We have the Hungarian Grand Prix today. I'm finally back from my terrible sleep pattern to actually broadcast the race this time. Not those backup commentators we saw last week. We'll talk about them. But we talk about one of them, because I actually have a co-commentator with me this time.
How we doing?
So yeah, as I understand it, you were the commentator last week. I don't remember who you were with.
Me, no.
Oh.
I was not. First time in the booth for you guys, so.
Yes, this is Billy Targi. He has been one of the more recent people to join ARC. I should probably put the camera on somebody, shouldn't I? Maybe might be helpful. He's an F2 driver, though, so that's why he is available to co-commentate for this, well, Tier 1 thing. Another camera on Connor Setchel, who is not the lead car on the track, actually, but he just came off of winning the Tier 2 race about half an hour ago, and he's reserving for Mikey De Jong, who has not been able to attend this race. On the topic of reserve drivers, Keenan Kimber is filling in for someone in on XECR. You have, well, he's not new, but he's new for me because I haven't commentated a race he's in. Ayrton Dos Santos in the other Mercedes car, and
Ooh.
That's
a Red Bull out already.
Seems to have spun on the outside curb before, based on where that caution is. And then the other Red Bull of Luke Treelor, who also has spun.
Luckily for the Renault, he didn't get into the back from there. Tricky spot.
Let us stop talking about the Renault drivers, or Red Bull drivers, because it seems like every time that I speak their name, they end up making an error, so... Let's watch AJ Knickel instead.
Got a couple drivers joining up.
That was Keenan Kimber. He was already here. I don't really know why he had to leave or rejoin. Lee Kelly has set the provisional lap. He has run a minute 14.2. For reference, the pole time in Tier 2 was like a 14.7, I want to say. So... And that lap was...
That.
Yeah, and this lap was on mediums too, so... Those.
AJ doesn't do a purple sector 2, but he is on a flyer. Set a purple sector 1, so...
I've currently got my camera on Carter Ritchie here. Since he is an unknown quantity for me in F1, I'm going to actually be keeping more of an eye on him. I've certainly seen his abilities in NASCAR, and I'm trying to see if maybe it's just not his forte or something.
Oh yeah, personal friend of Carter. He's a solid driver in an F1 car. One of the best. He's the fastest out of all my friends, so I expect him to do well here. He was very competitive the last time me and him raced at this track, so I expect a lot out of the AlphaTauri car today, so should look forward to that.
You know, the other lap times coming in. Setchel ran a 14.8, but that was on soft tires. Ritchie manages a 15.0. Also on soft tires. Nathan Carr ran a 15.3, but that was on mediums. And two Williams drivers, both with, I would imagine, certainly in Liam Carraig's case, unrepresentative laps.
Now, if you were to race, what strategy are you going for? Are you trying to do a one-stop, medium to hard? Are you trying to eke out, maybe do a soft, medium? Or what would your strategy be here?
I've seen soft medium work as well, but mediums to hard seems to be the ultimate strategy if you can manage to get a good qualifying position on said mediums.
Saw a lot of guys in the Tier 2 or Formula 2. Who's that as a Renault off there?
Well, the only Renault in the lobby is currently Connor Setchell, so... As Ayrton Dos Santos makes his pole time by 13 thousandths over Lee Kelly. And that was also on soft tires, whereas Lee Kelly is now also on an outlap on his own soft tires, but he currently has the weird RPM glitch. So I'm just going to not spectate him right now.
Oh no, it was actually just pinning it, because I thought it was a glitch too, and he actually shifted.
Maybe he's trying to, I guess he's trying to get fuel out of the car or warm up the engine. There's only conceivable reasoning for why he's doing that. He ain't got a VTEC engine in there, he ain't in a Red Bull. Some very scatterbrained.
Carter Ritchie was actually on another lap, I guess.
I'm currently on board with Jonathan Parker as he runs through Sector 2. And he's on a medium lap right now, so this won't be a terribly representative lap unless he is actually trying to stick with it on the mediums for this session, which is... it's a decent idea, as I said, if you can hack it. But I don't really think there are many drivers that have the pace to work with that. And the drivers that do have the pace for it have already all committed to to soft tires in this session. So Parker posts a 15.5.
Respectable. I just don't think there's enough medium tire runners at the moment to offset that. As it stands, he's the only one in the top 10 right now on the medium, so...
Yeah, he's not really... I mean, he's either in a really bad position or a really good position. It just kind of depends on your perspective for how you look at that situation. He's on board with Keenan Kimber.
You might want to...
Wait, what now?
You might want to slide down to, like, say 11th place, because even if you get 11th, you're still not too far back on the grid, but you can actually start with the softest, the freshest medium tires, so you would have an advantage of everybody trying to set the times on the mediums in the top 10, but it's all about everybody knocking you down, and you can't rely on that.
And never expect your opponents to be faster than you. If you have to lean on that reservation, then you're doing something probably flawed in some shape or form. Interesting idea from Dos Santos. He has the provisional pole at the moment, but he's deciding to go out on medium tires rather than on softs again. Meanwhile, Lee Kelly, his closest competitor, is on softs. As he actually walks up into the chicane. I don't think... No, this lap will not be a threat, as he is just looped in the chicane. Likely there's nobody around him, so he doesn't pose any real hazard as he tries to recover his car.
Ninja in the Alfa Romeos got purple sector 1 and 2. Yeah.
And he's gonna go with 14.001, almost 13s. And now we are in the 13s, as Tristan Adams has just managed a 13.4. You've certainly thrown down the gauntlet here, haven't we?
Yeah, that's a full 6/10 quicker than just set personal best, or the session best. Is that a full second faster than the tier 2 full time you said was 14.7?
Something like that. So yeah, almost a second and a half even.
That's pace differences is crazy.
And then there are actually a couple of drivers that were in tier 2 that are here. The Connors, ironically, Connor Setchell and Connor Hannock. as Dos Santos has begun his next flying lap, but he is on a set of mediums, so I don't really think he'll be challenging for pole with that yet. I'm trying to test the waters on a set harder compound to see if there is any hope for that concept or not, but in my head I'm more or less thinking that it really doesn't have much chance of working.
I mean, they're gonna have to climb a mountain to get close to fighting for pole here.
I mean, Dos Santos has laid down a pretty quick lap here, so to be honest, and he's actually apparently just gonna disregard that. I don't know. It seemed fast to me. I'm not sure. I must have missed something, or if that was his installation lap, I want to see what his actual lap looked like. Cause my word.
He may think about throwing the soft tires and just coming out and taking a shot. If everybody else is going to start on the sauce, not to lose there.
He already is sitting on the soft tires anyway, because even if he were to run, or if he were to start the race on the mediums, he would have to run his fastest lap on the mediums. And as it stands now, the only person that has done that, as we're talking about it, Liam Carrick has just done so with a 14.5 on the yellow tires. So suddenly he's kind of looking like he's in a bit of the catbird seat, because that is a competitive lap time compared to everything else around him.
Oh, 100%. He's going to be able to extend and be able to push and generally go do the same strategy, maybe a medium to hard.
I have reason to believe, based on moderating the Formula 2 race, that is the superior way to do it, because Tyler Crabtree in that Tier 2 race was starting to catch up to race winner Connor Setchell towards the end of the race, because he was able to stay out so much longer and have fresher medium or fresher hards right at the end of the race. As I've just messed up the camera work there, but Nathan Carr has just bought it, going through, I don't even know where it is. It looked like it was turn 5.
Yeah, that white curb on the inside, it will catch you out every time. Just getting one little wheel on there just turns the back end around and try to overcorrect. Seems that might be the result there.
Now, luckily for him, he already put in a pretty competitive lap time, so he might be able to declare himself like a second row start or something. Connor Setchell has retired from the session. That might have been an intentional retirement, though, because of the fact that he's more on the track. But as Parker goes by here, nope!
Oh.
No, that wasn't intentional. He was trying to make it into the pit lane, and he instead smacked the pit wall and knocked his tire off.
It's unfortunate.
It's probably a bit embarrassing, too. He's just coming off of winning a race, and as Kaneko on his outlap has found that same white curb, but he managed to at least keep the car going forward. Yeah, you go from winning the Tier 2 race to reserving for the Tier 1 race and like slapstick comedy, like Looney Tunesing yourself on the pit wall.
Yeah, just went too hot into the pit, I'm assuming, and got a bit of understeer and into the barrier. Boom, session over. This track will catch you. It doesn't seem technical. It just seems very bland. But there's certain areas of the track where you just can't get caught a foot out, or you're just put into a bad situation that you can't recover. Even the pit entry we saw there is just increasingly difficult. It's so tight and narrow there, especially at the corner. So it's almost a hairpin just to get to the pit.
Yeah, they call this track Monaco without the barriers, and with good reason, clearly. As we were on board with Kaneko, and he had a big moment going down going towards turn 3 from 2, and apparently my brain was just like, what is a corner number? That is a mere suggestion. As I was gonna say, like, well, it's saying Kaiwabog is on a lap. Yeah, well, it's invalid, so... Yes, but no. Who's somebody... Oh, Matthew Stotts is about to begin his next flyer, so we will, ride on board with him as he does so. Oh yeah, that's right, Matthew Stotts was also on the, in the Tier 2 races. Now, Tristan Adams, I don't know if that was... I think that was actually in the pit lane, so...
2 purple sectors for Carter Ritchie.
Those can lie sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit skeptical. It always seems like it's Sector 2 as well. That's going to be a hard lap time to beat for P1 here. Yeah.
He's gonna get onto the second row, so he got close-ish.
0.003 seconds off his nearest rival.
Although it's also very possible that rival will improve, as he is also on his own flying lap
Absolutely.
at the moment. And I would also be very shocked if we didn't see any additional challenge coming up from Lee Kelly here.
Oh, he's invalidated.
Oh, that would have been pole by far too, but he's thrown it away in the final turn. And Parker has manually retired. Alright, so it is indeed down to basically just down to Aaron Santos and Liam Angelo, but his lap was also invalid, so it's just down to the Mercedes driver to challenge for pole.
He's chucked it in there.
And it will not come to pass. He will not even improve his position. He could have just stayed on the mediums.
That's it. Qualifying is over.
Unless we've got some sort of dark horse candidate in Lee Treecor? Oh my god, Ricker. You were literally told how to pronounce his name before the race, and I have still managed to fail it. Treelor, Never mind, we do not have that at all. I didn't even look at his lap time. He was running in the late minute, or like 60 seconds or so, and he was going out of Sector 2. So, I was not paying attention there.
Really close from second on back to 6th.
Yeah, and interesting that Tristan Adams, who has set the pole time by 0.6 by way of Lee Kelly choking in the way. And yet he says he hates this track, which is quite interesting.
Love-hate relationship. His opinion may change by the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of, the idea, considering my least favorite track in the game is the only track I've ever won a race at in a Formula 1 league. And that would be Mexico. I won back in 2016 in AF1, but I hate it anyway.
I find that myself like certain tracks due to the switch of each game. Some tracks will feel good in a different game. For example, I liked Mexico last year. This year, I can't do Mexico. It's rather difficult. So, my opinion on the track switches up. I'm a huge fan of the Hungary ring. I think it flows. If you can really nail a lap here, it feels good. It's one of those feel good. You gotta just, almost like Barcelona, you just gotta find a rhythm and just get on with it. Track limits are going to be hugely important too.
The only tracks that ever really ever really changed from game to game for me would be like as far as how much I like the track based on a game by game basis. The only track that's really changed in that way for me is Silverstone. Did not like Silverstone in the earlier games, but once 2019 and 20 hit, and then that's like top half for me. But for the most part, every track that I like, I've liked since the beginning, and every track I've disliked since the beginning, or in some cases, even from before ever touching a Formula 1 video game, such as Monza. I am definitely more of a driver's track type of guy, so I don't really like Hungaroring too much, but I do like Singapore, Suzuka, and Spa the most. Not in that order, but
Predictive
anyway.
strategy has a soft to hard stopping on lap 6 or 9. I did a soft hard. I pit on lap 10. Tires are absolutely at the end of their life. You can do it. Not sure if, though, the soft medium might be the faster strategy. Just with the freedom to push as hard as you want with those mediums. I feel like it's going to differ throughout the grid, so this may not be how they finish.
Interesting thing, though, apparently after having invalidated, I had noticed that Lee Kelly's previous best lap was on mediums. Same thing for Liam Carrig. I think I'm still pronouncing that last name wrong. And I'm sure he'll berate me for it after the stream is over. But he also doesn't want me to just call him Liam Angelo either, so it's like, can I have your cake and eat it too, pal?
Interesting decision. AJ in 11th starting on the soft compound tire.
You may believe that he has the pace to get up the grid if he had, you know, not maybe made errors in qualifying. And I have the 5 red lights lighting up. This is the weird camera angle. And we are green from the Hungaroring. Eventually the camera angle will flip around, I assure you. What the heck? Okay, there we go. They're 3 wide into turn 1, and it looks as though possibly the Alfa Romeo is going to emerge victorious here. He had a brief look from Adams, but he couldn't find any space. And we have a spin heading through turn 2. I'm not really sure who the main victims were in that, because I have the UI off for the broadcast right now, as I usually do for the first lap.
Carter Ritchie got a bit sideways through turn 2, and everybody, Constantine effect, everybody into the back of everybody, just checking up.
The word is concertina, by the way.
Constantina?
Concertina. Constantine is like something to do with like something completely different. That's like Latin Christianity.
Well, that you learn something new every day, I guess. I've been saying that wrong for so long.
Concertina is like an accordion, so that's what it's basically the accordion effect, but that's a weird name. Anyhow, English language with Riker Lummel, now out of session. So yeah, Nathan Carr, despite his qualifying failures, has seized the lead into 1. Adams, very close near, or close by, close near, nearby, close by, near English. Yeah, bold of me to try and educate you on the English language. I don't even know it. Anyway, Rikerisms aside, ironically it's past NFR driver versus the current one. So, interesting context for myself, but ultimately doesn't matter too much. Dos Santos also still very close by, but Liam has lost a bit of time on that first lap. Actually, no, wait, I'm dumb. He didn't lose anything. He's up 3 places. So, yeah, if anything, he's done nothing but gain, as Dos Santos super wide through the... I don't know what corner number that is. I want to say that was 11.
I think you're right.
And Adams is just all up in Nathan's business.
Not sure Shifter's name, but he's able to keep with these top 3, and he's the first car on the medium, so...
That's Liam Carragh.
Look at very pacey.
And they're going to go too wide into turn 1 for the lead once again, as Luke Treelor has retired from the race. The camera is not at all looking at the drivers, but here comes the Ferrari driver into turn 2, and we have a safety car. Talk about getting teased right there. We were going to have a battle for the lead, but God forbid we have battles in Formula 1, am I right?
Be interesting to see what everybody does here. You got to think everybody's going to come in and change to the mediums.
Some might go to the hards, actually, because it's not the most probable, but it is not impossible to stretch hard tires for 30 laps. I had seen it happen in the Tier 2 race, so... So you need to take a drink of water, I suppose.
Just gonna bunch everybody back up again. Just gonna have to be patient again into turn 1.
Rack them up and break them up. Playing a game of billiards here.
Saying in NASCAR, but cautions do breed cautions. You can have a bunch of guys eager. Yeah, I see everybody ducking off into the pits.
Yeah, Carragh is already on the medium, so it would have been pretty silly for him to pit, so he's going to inherit the lead here. And, interesting choice. Matthew Stott's doing the same, but he is not on the soft tire. Or wait, he is on the soft tire. He's not on the medium tire. But everybody else that's behind him that have stayed out are on mediums. So... Also, apparently the main car involved in that turn 2 kerfuffle was Lee Kelly, who is sitting back in 13th right now.
Yeah, everybody's pit strategy is absolutely just different from one another. You're certainly not going to be able to take mediums to the end. See, two cars, I believe 3 cars put on mediums. Probably going to be banking on a late safety car.
I mean, it's a fair assumption. And statistically speaking, that is usually what happens. Yeah, I say it in like pretty much every stream, but it is still worth mentioning that as a commentator's insight that safety cars are the hardest things to commentate over because there's nothing happening.
Yeah, especially when you just got everybody doing the same thing, essentially, with the tire strats. It's just going to be interesting up at the front 2 here. There's going to be... Oh, see? He's just going to duck off and get off him.
Yeah, now Stotts elects the pit, but I think it's a little bit late for that. If anything, could have probably just stayed the course and see if there was another safety car. And pit then, and minimize your losses, because now he's going to get demoted down to dead last.
Maybe he didn't want to double stack with his teammate, but would have lost less time with a double stack than that.
As I generally, when a full safety car happens, usually you throw the concept of not double stacking out the window. So I don't think that is what inspired that. I think that was just being caught off guard.
You gotta think it's in this lap. I don't see no reason to keep it out there. So far, no penalties either. I mean, we haven't been racing very long, but we saw penalties come out almost immediately in Tier 2 race.
Penalties took like 4 green laps before they started manifesting, so...
Pretty sure Hockey Matt had 23 seconds halfway through the race.
He's certainly looking like less of a fool right about now. I suppose he's also had a bit more track time though, so...
Yep.
He's warmed up. It's almost, he's like akin to like an MLB pitcher at this point. As we prepare for the safety car restart, the safety car has entered the pit lane, and Liam has wasted 0 time flooring it. But Boggs was not fooled, and he's still kind of there.
His teammate right behind him too.
Yeah, there's once again, I think, for a moment there, the Alfa Romeo and Ferrari of Adams and Carr were also too wide again, but they settled that pretty quickly.
Not sure why the Ferrari put on the mediums. Again, maybe just trying to get a pace advantage, but these guys are looking to go to the end. As you said, you could take a set of hards to the end of the race.
Okay, I could turn the... well, there's the first penalty. Keenan Kimber has already managed 3 warnings and 2 green laps. Adams trying to sneak around the outside of Connor Hannock. Connor Hannock. Yeah, well, unless Hannock's running really low downforce, but doesn't seem to be a defining factor here. It's a pretty simple maneuver for Tristan Adams, and he'll be back into the podium spots for the moment.
I don't think he's going to have any trouble really in the top 2 here.
No, not with the pace he clearly demonstrated in qualifying when compared to that and fresher tires. He might have a bit of a struggle versus the leader, but I don't think you'll have much problem closing in on the racing point ahead.
We'll just see
another
how hard the racing point fights it. Oh, that's already another one. That wasn't even a lap.
Carbog trying to break the slipstream for the Ferrari driver, so he'll live to fight another lap, more or less, I suppose.
Oh, I don't think the Ferrari has the patience to wait around. He's got to pull that gap. He's obviously going to have to pit again. Unless he just has this pace and is godly with the tires. But I don't see any other option.
I don't think that's physically possible. Maybe you could carry medium tires that long on a full distance race, but not 50. Matthew Stotts with the penalty. Adams has inserted it on the outside, and he's going to get the inside there. That was not a pass I expected to see, but here we are.
Ooh, got a bit of oversteer. He got up on the curb, but
So he's
that'll
definitely
increase the
making
heart rate.
AJ Kaneko with the penalty. The sort of reason Connor Hannick's car is kind of gyrating as a bit of a latency issue. But yeah, needless to say, Adams is definitely making that gap as he's put 2 racing points in between himself and net P2, more or less.
I mean, he's not able to get by any of the racing points. He can close up on the back, but his medium tire still holding up, at least for now.
They'll be they'll be faster than hards for like the next 5-6 laps, I'd say.
Yes, but will the Alfa Romeo's patience run out before then?
Probably. I mean, I'd want to get around him, so...
Especially seeing that Ferrari's just taking off in the distance. Oh, what do we got?
Yeah, the
Red Bull around in 5.
Charlie Congdon has spun. Clearly it's that classic white curb that undoes everybody. You touch that curb and there is no surviving, so... It's pretty much like if somebody decided to just put a landmine. Woo! Nathan Carr had a huge oversteer out of the penultimate turn. That's gonna once again leave him in a situation where he cannot make him any moves on Connor Hannick. All the DRS in the world couldn't get him close enough, despite the massive. What was that?
The Racing Point just pressed the brake super early. Mercedes had nowhere to go but to dive down the inside, or else it would have been up the rear diffuser of the Racing Point, and essentially that's just collected all 3 of them.
Well, that certainly bailed out Adams a little bit, who, speaking of, has reached the diffuser of the leading Williams car. And another penalty tacked on to Ayrton Dos Santos. I'll be, as a moderator, I'll be interested to see the clips for that later, because that was an interesting interaction, to say the least.
The Mercedes had such a run because his full beam's got a huge run out of the final corner, plus DRS and slipstream. He pulled out to try and go by the Alfa Romeo.
But I think kind of what happened was it kind of looked like Hannick moved in the braking zone, where he just turned in really early, along with braking early, and that kind of left
very early
the Mercedes. Meanwhile, here goes Adams for the lead on Liam Carr. He's going to have to hold it on the out. Never mind, no he doesn't, because he got ahead anyway. I have miscalculated. I thought they'd still be too wide, but they're not. Lee Kelly is too wide with Connor Suchel, following all the madness there. And Lee Kelly is going to obtain that position. Another penalty for Keenan Kimber. He's going for the DQ speed run, apparently.
This is very easy to get one.
And Tristan Adams very much lighting the racetrack on fire now that he's finally gotten free from all the dirty air that was slowing him down before. And now we've kind of reached that dull point in the race. And just pile on the misery. Keenan just done for the day. He's had enough.
He's not having it. You got a battle for essentially 7th.
And Kinnickle is kind of closing in on Nathan, who I wouldn't be totally surprised if he might have had some yellow wing damage from that incident from before.
Seems like everybody still got end plates.
And Ricardo Ritchie has encountered turn 4, I imagine, as that is brought out of VSC. Or in other words, basically like the closest thing you can get to pausing an online game.
See if we get an onboard in the racing for a great crash. Oh, he's... Not sure what happened.
My best guess is that he clipped one of the curbs at turn 4 and was trying to correct it and overdid it.
The racing point drove by, he still had all his wheels. It was just... It's like he was parked.
I mean, it's very possible to just have so much... If you hit the front end of the car enough,
yeah,
the game will DNF you while only knocking off the wing. Kyra Boggs has used the opportunity to pit. So he'll definitely be good to the end as he's put on another set of hards. And we are green again, now that the pause sequence has ended. And also pitting during that sequence was Liam Karg, who also went on to mediums again. I'm not really sure what the idea was there. I don't think that was his idea, or that was his intention, rather. But now all of a sudden, Tristan Adams is looking even better than ever, because now he's got almost a 10-second lead over a guy whose tires are eventually going to fall off a cliff.
I don't know, about 20 or so odd laps on the mediums. That's just not gonna work. Ooh, we thought about it. Mercedes all over the back of the Williams here.
It's Dos Santos versus Kinnickle. Having a really good exit. That's going to be a pretty easy... Yeah, there's not even a chance on that one. AJ went wide out of the last turn, and Dos Santos did not, and it doesn't get much simpler than that, as Kinnickle has a bit of a slide moment there. Dos Santos looking... He's now getting close to Nathan Carr. In a sense of, like, metaphoric, not really revenge, but, like, retribution? No, that's the same thing. Not sure. Kinnickle with yet another time penalty as he's just letting his teammate go through, who is clearly the faster vehicle right now and is obviously on much better tires.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not only is Lee Kelly, second place, on slower tires at the moment than the leader, Tristan Adams, but he also has, oh my god, the Rikers are so real. I'm a little bit out of practice on commentating, so just bear with me here. That's my John, it's just that I'm out of practice. I need to practice talking, I guess. Just don't question it, it's just better if you don't, believe me. And surprisingly, Liam runs the fastest lap for the moment. With his completely fresh mediums, it's not really a surprise to anyone, I don't think, that he pulled that off.
He's gonna be able to chase these guys down without a problem. He's gonna have to try and get an easy pass. Not chew up these tires, because, I mean, he's put himself in, like, a lose-lose situation. Cause we already know we can't make it to the end, so he's gotta fight these guys to get by, but not chew up so much of the tires. I think
actually he probably could make it to the end. The problem is that he's not allowed to. He has to switch compounds because he started on these tires.
Oh, well, that just even makes less sense now that you...
That's why I was so confused. Initially, it'd have been like, if it were soft to mediums, I'd be like, I mean, it's unlikely, but it can work here. Making 20 laps on mediums, if you drive smoothly, is possible. It's not optimal, but you can survive. But you certainly can't get around the rule book, which clearly states you have to use 2 different compounds, so I guess he'd probably be looking to switch to soft tires at the last gasp of the race.
Yeah, he's got no choice.
And he's got a run on Ayrton Dos Santos, and he's almost sent it into the back of Nathan Carr, but that's one move done. So I initially thought that Setchel was going to be keeping Lee Kelly on his toes, but that is not the case, as instead it's Johnny Parker keeping Setchel on his toes, as Parker closes in on...
Oh, he's gone too deep.
Yeah, it's a missed turn for him. That's just going to get Parker ever closer. The tires are the same age, but Parker's on hards, not mediums, so he'll have the net advantage in the coming laps. And Liam is right up Nathan Carr's wheelhouse right now. Could probably shake his hand from here, just about. Or slap him upside the head, alternatively, if you want to go that route.
He's gonna have to get a good run out of here. He's got him.
Well, that'll be good enough, I would have to guess. Yeah, there's no challenging that. DRS is a heck of a drug. So
Let's help the Mercedes catch up as well.
And then Johnny Parker has entered Setchel's domain, like, outright now. Can't really refute, or can't really dispute it. Not refute, that's a completely different word.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's Setchel going wide there, or if that's just stock with another penalty. That may just be the way he takes that corner. He might just take an early apex. I don't think that's the best way to take it, but it's a way, I suppose.
And that gap out front's already gone up 3 seconds in over 3 laps, so he might be able to find the gap he needs.
We have a car that has spun. It is Connor Hannock has met turn 4 once again, or 5 again. He spun on that curve twice in the AF2 race, and clearly history is repeating itself for that driver. It is wheel to wheel and bumper to bumper between Ayrton and Nathan for P6.
Ooh.
There's a lot of defense being made, and that is interesting driving from Dos Santos. I don't think that's the last we'll see of that. No, Alfa Romeo just got a huge run. Oh, I think just tried to put him on the turn 5 curb. In the words of Liam's own commentary,
maybe more than elbows here.
In the words of Liam's legendary line from last week's race, what the hell is Ayrton doing?
He's certainly argy-bargy, elbows out, fists out.
I mean, I guess when I had said earlier, Liam was close enough to shake Nathan's hand or slap him upside the head. I didn't mean that literally in his case. But
I was taking it in a literal sense and just applied that to the race.
I think it's done more than slap him in the head. That's more like slapping him in the nether region. In the manhood, as they call it. But, and meanwhile, Liam Angelo has already overtaken Connor Setchel, and by extension, Johnny Parker. I didn't even see any of that happening, as we were too busy watching Ayrton Dos Santos play a little bit of Burnout Paradise. So, not to mention, he's also got a time penalty, no less, so generally that is supposed to change the way you approach overtaking people who don't have them. But, I guess not.
No, he chose a different strategy.
Different strategy, also known as play bumper cars.
I guess he was in a hurry to get by, because I mean he has pulled an almost 2-second gap. I'm not sure if the Alfa Romeo has wing damage from the altercation between the two, but surely he's pulled the gap, and he's actually closing in on the Haas ahead of him, so Maybe there's pace. Maybe there's maybe he was desperate to get by, and it showed.
It certainly helps Dos Santos' case of catching those cars because they are currently locked in their own battle. With Parker having been stuck behind Setchel all this time but unable to produce an overtake. And now Liam Kuraga's Charlie Congdon's out of the race. But that I think was, nope, that was not intentional.
Oh, VSC.
And yep, pause the online game again while the VSC is happening. I will look at the comments section. I don't even know who that is.
He's a full pit stop ahead. If he can get to the pits now and take a softer compound tire.
Yeah, the door is open to take another
good.
set of mediums if he has them available. Because he started on soft tires,
huge
so.
pace advantage.
And Connor Setchel has been caught speeding. Although
the leader?
no, the leader's pitting. That's what he's doing, but he's not. Connor Setchel was the one that got caught speeding. So that's pretty much finalized the battle between him and Parker because there's not really any worth any.
He just served the drive-through. He got caught speeding. He just served his drive-through now.
Oh.
Oh no.
Well, the race control didn't tell me that, so that's, you know, some like information I could have maybe used game. And meanwhile, in his mirrors, we've got the battle for seconds that just happens out of nowhere. Tightrope for Liam Karag. Big slide, and that's going to mean Lee Kelly's now going to probably have a shot at the lead. Now we're getting to the tire age where I think the hards would certainly be faster than the mediums. But yeah, of course, VSC Deltas have been made exceptionally annoying with 2020 because they made it to where it doesn't update constantly. And
what is this?
Nathan Carr has DNF'd. I think he found another VSC.
Another VSC. Oh, this is save the Ferrari's race.
Not really. I don't see how you say. I don't see how that adds up. It's probably saved him from being over. Oh, he can pit now, I guess, but like, he's not gonna save that much time. The VSC is probably going to end as he's in the middle, or probably when he's exiting. Yeah, it's generally safe to assume, based on where he crashed, I think Nathan has once again met a turn 4 curb. Same way that,
I was going with... Whoa, he's gonna do the old 13 laps on the softs.
I'm not totally sure about that one. He's gotten out just ahead of AJ Knickel and Kyler Bogg, so that's crucial. He's gonna get the places. And he's gonna get the places on Aaron Dos Santos and Parker in due time, I do believe. If they don't choose to pit again, then they will be.
Well, the Williams has got a pit out of P2. Oh, there's. Ooh.
Apparently we're watching Initial D, not Formula 1, the way that Liam's battle has gone so far.
The door got absolutely closed. He was able to save that. That's the difference between continuing on at P2 and the difference between being in the barrier.
But he's fight another lap.
Well.
And he's got to make that compound change, but that's kind of a contestable thing because he can get onto softs from here. And I guess that was probably his plan all along. If that was actually his plan to begin with, which I'm still not convinced. He's gonna try and stick it on the outside, but that's not gonna get him anywhere. In just about a lap's time, Tristan Adams has.
Kyler and AJ making contact.
That's nothing new there. In just about a lap's time, Tristan Adams not only set to purple sector 1, but he has cut the gap between him and the Mercedes ahead down by 3 seconds or so. In about 30 seconds or so, I would expect to see a pretty fast lap time pop up as the FL.
Oh yeah, this.
Lock up from Lee Kelly, meanwhile, as we,
another second.
Yeah, as we look at the battle for the lead, Lee Kelly locking up into the third from last turn. It'll only take a decent run out of this last turn, and Craig, Liam will have a shot at the lead again.
I think he's too far back unless he absolutely there to.
Yeah, he is indeed absolutely sent it.
Or just didn't get the exit he needed though. Even with the DRS, he wasn't able to get it done.
And he has to be closer than that. I mean, it's not impossible to make a pass into the third from last turn, but he has to be close, and that's hard to do with dirty air. So, can all but toss that out the window. Boggs and Knickel still going at it for 6th place.
Williams got a penalty though, so you gotta keep that in mind, stay patient. Plus he's on fresher tires.
And if anything, just brings into question how on earth AJ hasn't already... Oh, and there's a very ill-timed penalty for Tristan Adams, just to add on to everything else the stewards have thrown on his forehead today. And speaking of, there's another one for Knickel.
He's going to absolutely chew these guys up for 4th and 3rd. It's not even going to be a match. That gap came down 8 seconds in 2.5 laps.
And Dos Santos is already going for a move of his own for the position ahead.
Switched back, done beautifully, but the DRS is going to keep him alongside. He's going to have the inside for turn 2. Yeah, 2.
And Parker, having gone wide, has actually given Adams the space, and he's just going to sneak right through. Sneak and increase to level 100 right there. He's gotten right there on the Mercedes driver.
You gotta do the outside, that's...
Does he send that braking zone far enough? I'm shocked we haven't had a crash there, let alone anything else.
We've seen the Mercedes not giving up positions easy and she's absolutely fighting tooth and nail. I don't expect this to be an easy pass, but then again, he's just going to be a sitting duck come to front straight, so
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. I mean,
I'm not even sure why Tristan was forcing it there. All he needs to do is exit the last corner remotely well, and that pass is pretty simple.
The Mercedes has got to understand that that's not his fight. It's I get you in the podium places, but just held them up, and it's going to be done and dusted here. Oh, and the Mercedes moves cheeky.
But mercifully, Adams is now clear of that bit of traffic. He's got a 5-second journey to reach the leaders. That's also more like 8 because of his penalty. Unless these
still
two...
battling for the lead,
yeah, as I say, unless the combat between these two results in a penalty for either of them. It should be a pretty easy P2, though, at least for Adams, considering the whole tire situation with the Williams driver.
He's got to guess when is the pit stop coming. He's only hurting himself naturally without... Oh, there's another penalty for the Mercedes. With these two battling, it's just going to help the Ferrari get to the back of them even quicker.
Kelly, I think, went wide on his entry there. It's a small bit of assistance that Liam crucially needs if he is to make this pass.
I don't think he can always protect the inside. I don't think he's got enough.
Well, he turned in on him, so no. Otherwise, if he'd managed to keep his elbows out there, he might have been on the inside for 2 had he played his cards right, but he turned in too sharply and found Pirelli tire was in his way. Also, yeah, Tristan Adams already cut that distance down by a little over a second and a half to the leaders. Obviously, due in part to the fighting, due in part to better tires, blah 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 blah.
He's gonna try the outside that turns into the inside here. This is the opportunity he's been looking for. Oh, and the door's shut again.
He's gonna reopen it anyway. He's gonna pry it open with a crowbar at this point. And, still not really able to close the deal.
Oh, and the Ferrari's there. It won't be long now.
Meanwhile, Knickel and Boggs, the pass has finally been made for the Racing Point. It was a bit overdue in my eyes, but it finally happened. Lee Kelby got a massive exit out of the last turn, so I don't really think there's anything that Liam can do to contest that. Maybe into two, though. He got really close through the braking zone, but no, there's still nothing.
Too much. That's too much wheel spin on the exit of the corner to get him. Meanwhile, the Ferrari's just watching this, just licking his lips.
Yes, fight for my amusement. Where'd all these clouds come from?
Yeah, it did get pretty dark pretty quick.
It was like we entered the Twilight Zone or something.
A little over 7 laps left. Could we see some late rain?
It's kind of what the game's trying to tell us, I think. Based on the sudden emergence of cloud. Does Karag get the exit this time? No. Nothing doing just yet for him.
Got a really naily exit here.
No, he's gotta wait again.
It's gonna be so frustrating to be so close. Just can't just edge your nose in there.
If I'm Tristan here, I'm kind of backing off, to be honest, because you need these tires to live, and you're going to be close enough no matter what.
We got a car around at the end of Sector 3.
Liam got a huge amount of oversteer, and that's allowed Kelly to pull away a pretty good bit. You know, it's Connor Hannock that went around up here, but he's so far away from this group it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because the Ferrari's caught him, but he hasn't been able to just pluck him off like he did the guys in order to get up here. So you got to imagine those softs are. You can see graining on the left front of the Ferrari. So guess it's a matter of we'll see. This is a pretty heavy track for the left front. Maximum I was able to do was 11 laps on 72%. That's just, you're on the edge at that point, so maybe they're expecting rain. Maybe they know something we don't. Could play into it.
Yeah, they can ask Jeff. Jeff has the forecast. Us plebeians in the commentary booth don't get that, so...
He's actually fallen off the back of the Williams now.
Either his tires are going, or they have already gone.
Yeah, you can see graining on both tires.
At this point, I think he's trying to sustain himself and not have to pit again.
Yep, there it is. Rain just flashed on my screen. So...
Yeah. So a singular droplet.
It's going to get a bit tricky for those guys like the leader here who are on older, hard tires. They're going to just freeze up.
It may be possible to end up on intermediates. It depends on how fast it downpours.
Mm-hmm. In that case, the Williams, that hole, he needs to pit regardless. Everybody would be pitting for the inters, so that strategy would in fact actually end up working for him. So maybe they did have a little bit of information before the race started that we'd expect rain by the end of the race, so that's a gamble because you don't know if it's going to come with 2 laps to go and if it's beneficial to even pit, so you took a huge risk. So who's going to bite first?
It's going to be
Tristan.
Tristan.
Be the Ferrari.
Well, he was also in the kind of capper seat of his tires were already kind of going out the window anyway, so might as well minimize risk. Oh! A big rear ending, and Liam Krog's going to inherit the lead after just about spinning Lee Kelly out, but he's going to give that back because that was a bit of a wreckfest moment for him. Rankerism.
You like to see that? Driver giving the position back, knowing that he'd done something wrong. Sportsmanship.
Tristan exits in P6.
Oh, the rain is coming down absolutely heavy now.
And Krog just picked up a penalty for his troubles. I imagine just trying to keep the vehicle on the racetrack. And probably had to correct or something. Let's kind of pay attention to the relative gaps towards Adams. But I think he might have jumped the gun a bit there, but it's hard to really say.
He's getting a lot of wheel spin. He's really fighting the wheel. But the time's just... the gap isn't... it's fluctuating. It's like when he finds the grip, it seems to be faster, but then on
the leaders are now going in, so...
Oh, there it is. Oh.
Oh?
Everyone's just struggling to get her slowed down before the end of the pit limiter line.
Now,
I think the
suddenly,
Ferraris played this beautifully.
Yeah, the Ferrari having pit early, he had to survive that one lap, but he gained so much time, and he had to do it anyway. He's not going to be the leader, though. He's going to be P2.
Oh, and there's the Mercedes. Somehow moved himself into the podium positions.
I believe Liam, or the Williams driver, might have had to fix his car after running into the back of the Alfa Romeo, so that's demoted him some ways.
Oh, and the Haas is still out there on the hards. 27-lap-old hards. He's struggling.
He's probably not having a great time, no.
Ooh, he's... That's going to be a troublesome corner for him right here. Tough to navigate. Ooh.
And I think as much as he or nobody really wants to admit it, this has kind of been a bit of a metaphor for a lot of Tristan's seasons since he joined in. He joined at Italy, and he was fighting for the lead until Ascari happened, and he threw away a possible win there. And from what I understand, he had a similar opportunity to win at the Dutch Grand Prix last week, and also threw that away at the last breath. And here he had the fastest car in qualifying. He took pole and everything. He had the lead early on, but VSC, one of like 17 we had in the race, and this game's absolutely terrible Delta system, have denied all chance of that. And the reason why it is terrible is because it doesn't update constantly. It updates every second, and 1 second is all you need to go from 2/10 green to half a second negative and you can go into the pits now. And you wouldn't even know it, especially if you're in a high-speed corner.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's gonna need the leader to have a massive mistake, but the level of consistency, it's not gonna happen. And even then, he's already got the penalty as well, so, I mean, take your lumps, that's P2. Those are points. I believe he definitely 100% had the fastest lap. I mean, he was cruising there on the soft tires, so it's not a total loss. You take what you get, and, yeah.
Certainly more than my team's been producing lately, I'll tell you that much.
The field's pretty much spread out here.
Yeah, the rain, usually when the rain shows up last second, it throws a wrench in the works, but instead, the rain is just kind of denied everything.
It's just cemented everything, essentially. It's just what it is.
It's not quite set in stone, but it is set in wet concrete.
Was a solid race for the lead there. We saw a lot of action, but ultimately every kind of stayed the same here in the end.
And with AJ getting another penalty, it's been a journey from the back after having invalidated his lap time that would have been pole anyway. So maybe it was just kind of destiny as Lee Kelly takes another victory on the season at the Hungarian GP. He was already the points leader, and with his main competitor being Mikey De Jong, who could not attend the race. Yeah, I don't really think there's much of a fight there in that standings anymore. I don't think he's...
Mercedes went from 3rd to 5th after penalties. Ugh.
And I'm sure he'd probably just be getting more anyway later after his interesting altercation with the other Alfa Romeo driver.
I mean, everybody finishing this race right now does get a point, so I mean, there's an incentive there.
Excuse me. Yeah, so apparently we brought back post-race interviews with the previous weekend as Connor Hannick has spun in the second to last corner. Come on, we ain't got all that. Oh, he's just done. But yeah, I'm terrible at doing those, so if we are to continue doing that trend, Billy, that's on you.
What is that?
Post-race interviews. I'm not good at asking awkward questions.
I mean, hey, you can skip it. It's up to you. It's my first race, just getting used to it. It's I gotta learn names and stuff. I got a lot to study here. But overall, that was a fantastic race. And thanks for having me in the booth.
I guess I'll invite those 3 drivers, but you're gonna be the one asking the questions, not me. I'm sort of volunteering you at this point, I'm aware, but trust me, you don't want me to asking these questions. I'm not the greatest at doing that. I can't. Where are they again? I don't have half of them added. That's the problem. My AF1 list is outdated by like years at this point. Wait, Wait a minute, I can just do their profile and invite them that way. I'm genius. Nope, not that way. Okay, no, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, a little bit. The only one of those drivers that I actually have on my friends list is in third place, so... I was going to make the executive decision and say screw it, because I don't have Tristan or Kelly added at this point, so...
Neither do I.
No. I never added them because I don't really talk to them outside of ARC, and up until I wasn't ever planning on doing post-race interviews, so that's going to do it for this broadcast of the Formula 1 series. Now that I've fixed my sleeping pattern, I might finally be back to actually doing, like, you know, consistent commentary, but we don't have broadcasters for the Project Car series since I moved to actually driving those leagues now, so yeah, it'll be a while because I think it's an endurance race next Saturday, so it'll be 2 weeks from now, I think, before our next GP.